So I just spoke about crowdsourced benchmarks and how it's a key sort of a key component and a key feature of the CloudReady platform, in that it helps you really understand whether or not your network or your application delivery is up to par with the anonymized aggregate that Exoprise has. And so we crowdsource almost every element of every one of our diagnostics and metrics that we collect. So you can compare your network round trip times to any customers within our platform, the anonymized aggregate, and you can tell whether or not you need to make improvements to your network latencies, or whether or not your jitter is worse and how that might affect a Teams audio video conference. Same thing for SharePoint Health scores or Exchange mail queues and the hygiene. So this is how some of our customers are using it. They're using it to compare and make improvements. They're using it to gather statistics on a longer term basis and bring those back to IT management and say, like, look, we're not as good regionally, and we need to make improvements to whether it's cloud-based proxies, VPNs, SD-WAN, backbone, or even ISPs that our home users are on. We might need to upgrade their Wi-Fi routers. This benchmark capability, this real-time crowdsourced benchmark capability, enables IT to make some of those decisions. And also on the next slide, you can see that having these crowdsourced metrics can really help when it comes to outages, outage comparison and detection. So this is an example from, I think, March 15th, so only about a little over a month ago, where the CloudReady platform helped customers, detect a Microsoft outage. It was actually, I believe it was an Azure AD outage, up to 40 minutes before Microsoft reported the problem. It also enabled our customers to realize that it wasn't, their networks, it wasn't their VPNs, it wasn't their backend routing. It was really, Microsoft's outage in this particular case. And our screens allowed a customer to see that 40 minutes before and to detect when Microsoft fixed the problem, which I think on this case was a few hours afterwards, and really eliminated a lot of guesswork, finger pointing, reduced the time to you didn't have to get on the phone and talk to Microsoft and try to analyze what the issue was. You knew well ahead that if you had an alternative collaboration, or if you had a different solution, you should go leverage it because there was a real Teams outage. And I think the next slide is back to Andrew.
Yes. So on the benchmarking component, first of all, completely agree with the last couple of slides here. But just to circle back on some of the things that we mentioned earlier, understanding the entire chain of experience delivery, right, is a huge component here. And you see an example here, at the bottom here. And I think this is a really good graphic to kind of show this, that there are multiple different points of failure, right? And you want to understand kind of the benchmark across all of these major areas. The other component is looking at this from a geographic perspective, particularly with a heavy emphasis on cloud. There can be huge differences in geographic, experience for employees, depending on if they're what data center they're closest to and so forth. So that can definitely play a huge role in your benchmarking. The qualitative feedback, I think this is related to the crowdsourcing component of this as well. But, this idea that I need to sort of verify the outages across multiple different sources here, it continues to be an important part of benchmarking. We are seeing a lot of organizations move towards cloud for experience management so that they can do industry benchmarking too. So, and that could be specific to your cloud apps, but it could just be overall the experience. So let's say you're in a VDI heavy industry. Being able to compare across your industry could be very helpful. Whereas if you're comparing your VDI deployment versus someone's physical deployment, then that maybe is not going to be as useful for you. So using cloud and anonymizing a lot of that data, a lot of the providers have that ability to do that anonymization as well, can really help as far as giving you insights that are more tailored to your specific industry. Pay particular attention to computing delivery models, right? This is another key area. Jason mentioned earlier the increase in VDI deployments. We're seeing the same thing here at Forrester, and they're mostly cloud desktop environments. Some of that is managed by the end user organization with a broker connection. And some of that is full on desktop as a service where the vendor will manage it themselves. But that's going to have a big difference as far as the overall experience. If it's a VDI environment where you're hosting all of the compute, basically through the internet connection versus something that can run more natively without an internet connection as well. So that's another area where we definitely do see a need to provide specific benchmarking here as well.